My name is Rachel Dworkin. I'm the archivist at the Chemung County Historical Society. Welcome to our panel discussion. Tonight we will be discussing the Chemung County's Black Oral History Project. From 1989 to 1991, we conducted a series of interviews with 22 members of the African American community in Elmira, discussing a range of issues. Tonight we'll be listening to some clips from those interviews and then discussing them. With me on the panel are
Michele Johnson. I am the CEO of YWCA Elmira and the Twin Tiers.
Georgia Verdier, and I'm president of the Elmira-Corning branch of the NAACP.
Dr. Jimmie Williams, retired from Corning Incorporated. I am also vice president of the NAACP.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tanya McGee, and I am currently a member of the executive board of the NAACP.
This is from Delmar Rouse, who was going to school here in the 1940s and 50s.
Elementary school was Beecher School, which is right down there, right around the corner from where I grew up at. Yeah. And it was considered not to be, at that time, one of the better elementary schools, primarily because it was located on the east side. Yeah. Although many of us from my own peer group have done quite well coming out of Beecher School. My real problem with the counseling and everything started when I was in the 8th grade and getting ready to go into high school. And I had wanted to go into the academic program in high school. And the counselors tried to dissuade my mother from supporting that idea. And they wanted minority males, but primarily to go into shop programs. And the girls would be going to home ec and stuff like that, watered down kind of thing, which I don't believe is watered down now, but back then that's the way they looked at it. It's like people look at the BOCES program now, it's pretty much the way they looked at that at that time, okay? Yeah. But see, they did not plan on having to deal with my mother. There's no way you can say that to her and she will accept that, okay? And she asked him, well, did my grades warrant my being able to handle the academic program? They had to admit, yes, that they did. And then why can't he go in it? That's the way she is. I mean, she will take it too. So I eventually got it, but we had to go through some changes.
What do you guys think about that quote?
And what the characters you're looking at, I think if many of us go back, we know basically what they encountered, or if we didn't experience it, if you're not old enough, you read about it. It was difficult for everything. And he talked about school. Many people could say to you that they were not encouraged to go into certain phases of the academia. It was like what he called watered down at that time, home economics or shop, or things like that. But to talk to you about a scientist or a doctor or some key entities like that, you were not encouraged way back then to do that. And it was almost like the thought was you were not capable of functioning effectively in those fields. So they were not recommended. And the difficulty that I had was, rather than putting the kid in the field and letting them see what they could do, you make a judgment prior to and not even encourage them to enter. And it's not all gone today. I mean, we're not at the top of the ladder yet. We're still climbing. So Delmar encountered all of that, but he, like Betsy Berry, was I don't want to use the word fighter, but he was a mover and a shaker. He was determined too to be the best that he can be. And so, in spite of the difficulties and the roadblocks, so to speak, he continued to function. And until few years back when he died, he was still out there making a difference. But I can remember him more recently on the battlefield with music, and he would be everywhere in Elmira doing music. So he again was a survivor. He traveled through the minefields, like I said about Bessie. He didn't step on a mine, so he made it too.
So I know it's been a while since all of us were in high school, but I know some of you have children and grandchildren who are recent high school graduates or in high school now. So Have any of you encountered problems like this today or recently?
I think when I was in high school, oh, sorry, Jimmy.
No, go ahead.
When I was in high school, they did encourage people to go to BOCES as an alternative if you were different than the norm. So kind of a place to push the people that shouldn't be within the normal school day. And so what he was saying is, I think, was still very much true in the 80s when I was in high school, that as minorities, we were encouraged to pick up a trade to be sure that we could survive when we graduated.
Going back to Delmar's days, back in the 40s, education for Blacks was not valued. They wanted Black males to get enough education so they could function, I mean, read and write somewhat, and be able to work manual labor jobs. That's all they felt, that you didn't really need education to do that. And for women, they encouraged them to learn more about home economics so that they can become domestic workers, working in someone's house or cooking in someone's kitchen. So there was no emphasis on education for Blacks. That all you needed was enough to survive and work for someone white. It's different today, where there's better opportunities and there's a lot more encouragement for students to get an education and go on to college, because it's going to only give you an edge. And if you don't, it's going to hold you back. But there's still an issue of more kids graduating from high school in the minority communities. So it changed. There's an opportunity to get a good education. But back when Delmar, there was not as much emphasis. That all we want you to do is be able to go out and do some manual labor.
Tanya, do you have anything to add?
I will add that, when you were reading this, I guess my background is in urban planning. So what jumped out to me was the East Side, and how, as a planner, we study different zip codes, because your zip code is a direct determinant of, your health and your educational outcomes. So thinking about the East Side and, how it was once a really flourishing area to presently now being the largest census tract, as well as concentrated with race and poverty. I think, speaking for myself, I would say that I was fortunate to kind of have the support, the outreach from my communities to think about, going away to school and not kind of just being stuck into one, field or discipline, however you say it. But yeah, basically just coming full circle and now seeing, I guess it's encouraging to see that Black people and how they're, excelling with college degrees, and Black women specifically surpassing all of their counterparts in college degrees.
I just want to add one last comment if you're getting ready to move on. One of the things we're finding today, we still have some challenges. For those parents who don't know how to navigate the system, there are still difficulties, but today we have more college educated African Americans and at the table, and also in other fields, who can help encourage their children, and they know how to navigate the system. Many parents don't know how to do, some parents don't know how to do that, to go in and really push for their kids to be wherever they want them to be, or to go in the direction they want them to go. They really leave it up to the school and dependent on the school system to help to direct their kids. That is true with education, as well as financial assistance like scholarships. Many times, many of the kids don't even know scholarships are there. They're just not getting that information. If the kids hear it, the parents don't know, so they can't push for it. I remember going to a scholarship award ceremony in Elmira a few years ago, and I saw kids like getting 6, 7, 8 scholarships And I saw the marginalized kids getting none. Only one kid got a scholarship, and that was the NAACP scholarship. And I said, time out. It's time to do something different. And that's why we put so much emphasis now on scholarship program to help kids and to help parents who need that type of assistance. So it's going to take the village, and the village looks different now, but it's going to take the village to help keep this ship moving, because still there are parents who are not connected enough to know how to go in and advocate for their children to get them going in the direction they would prefer.
Do you mind elaborating a little bit about what you're doing to encourage scholarships in the African American community here through the NAACP?
Well, we go to donors and tell them what we need and let them know that it has been difficult for these young people to get scholarships, and we would like for them to target some funds so we can give these kids scholarships. And so they know exactly that we're going to the marginalized community, these kids who are not getting scholarships. Once I was told, I was in a meeting and they said, well, you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And I said, if you don't have any boots, you can't pull them up. But once we get some boots, let's pull them up and let's go out there and get scholarships for the kids. And that's what we've been doing for the last, I think, about 27 years now. And we will continue to do that. And I know there are many other organizations like the Cosmopolitans, the Greek organization, the Divine Nine. All of those people now are doing scholarships for young people, because we say we have to help ourselves sometimes. You can't always look for somebody else to bring your food to the table. You go out and get some and bring it yourself. So we're doing that, and we're doing the best we can to reach as many young people as we can. And they don't have to be a member of the NAACP or never been one. It's not based on anything like that. It's based on needs and concerns, people reaching back and helping the communities. We look at students who are contributing to the community. We look at many factors and say, that's a kid, that's a winner. So we've been doing that for years, and hopefully we will continue to do that. We did it last year on the COVID, and that was difficult because money was scarce, but we still were able to give 7 $1,000 scholarships. So we will continue to do that.
Okay, thank you.